Right, guys, welcome back to the SuthieCast, episode 16. We're joined in the studio by a very special guest, Matthew. How are we doing?
Over the years, man, I like how you call me Matthew. That's fun. I'm not bad, man. How are you? Thank you for having me as well, man. It's a pleasure to catch up with you, man.
Yeah, I've been doing all right, man. You know, it's just one of those, isn't it? You know, it's hard keeping it main. You know what I mean? Like keeping it going. You know, it's not easy.
It's not easy being cheesy.
No. Sorry, man. Yeah, man. So what you been up to, man?
Yeah, not a lot. I've just finished uni, like I was saying off screen. So I've done my degree. Just waiting for the results. I've been doing loads of different things. Like I'm doing so much at the moment. It's kind of hard to explain in like one sentence, like what's going on. But to put it like in short in the story, I mean, we can get into it later on more. But I'm kind of doing a lot of admin sort of artist development work behind the scenes. So I'm working with a lot of artists behind the scenes. And I'm also obviously running my YouTube channel. I've kind of stepped away from radio and got into like, that's it. What's it, Birdman? And he goes like that. Yeah.
Pick a fly.
Put some respect on my name. Yeah. No, like I've been doing YouTube because I felt like I love radio, right? And I love my roots in radio. And I've only been out of radio for like less than a year. I've been doing it for like 6 years straight. And I just think with radio for me, it was becoming like restrictive.
Yeah.
And I love radio. I think radio is amazing, right? If you're a person, if you love music, you like talking about music, or you like having conversations, I think it's perfect for that. Or if you're an artist, if you're a band, a rapper, whatever, it's really good to go on and like promote yourself. I just felt like with radio, it was like, you know, you're pressured to turn up every week, you're live on air. And doing YouTube, it allows me to be creative. I just think there's so much more creativity on YouTube. Like it works around my life. I can pre-record stuff. I can write scripts. It's just really, I find it very revolutionary compared to radio. And I know radio is really popular, but I also feel like it's becoming less and less relevant. And I feel like one of the things I had an issue with in radio is that no one's really afraid to be critical. So like, for example, like back in the day, you'd have, I don't know, a band come on and someone like John Peel or someone like that or Trevor Nelson would be like, oh, I like your album, but it's not as good as your last one. And I feel like what the culture in radio is a lot of the time, and there's nothing wrong with this, there's nothing wrong with being positive, but I feel like with radio, there's a culture of being a yes man. And I didn't want to become a yes man because like people like my opinion when I'm talking about different things. I wouldn't say being controversial, but just having a different angle on different things. That's what YouTube gives you a really good space to do that, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. 100%. Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it?
Definitely.
I don't know what's going on here with this.
What's that?
What I'm going to do... fuck's sake.
Bit of technical difficulties. You need like, you know, the Simpsons when there's like technical difficulties, you need like a screen that comes on and it's like a little like lift music coming on. That'd be funny.
Yeah, remove pin. Yeah. Yo, that's cool. Okay, well, cut that bit out anyway. So yeah,
that's fine. No problem.
Yeah, no problem. Fine. I think when it were doing it were sort of like, I think I changed it so it was like showing two videos at once. So not what it does normally, it switches between who's talking and like if I'm talking and you're talking, it'll switch between them.
Yeah.
So I will clicking around. Yeah. So yeah, radio. Yeah, I know what you mean about radio. It's like I said, people's honesty about music and stuff. Definitely, like there's not enough honesty in the scene. There's a lot of like sort of ass kissing as well, you know.
Oh, 100%. I agree. I agree. Like I recently watched a documentary about, this is completely unrelated to music, but I recently watched a documentary called The Social Dilemma. It's on Netflix. I recommend anyone go watch that. And I think it's important as a society, like because of social media and radio as well, not radio, but more social media, is people are getting one sort of view of life. Like everyone needs a sort of similar sense of reality. And I think what I've learned recently is that sometimes it's all right to listen to people that you don't agree with.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes obviously stick to your beliefs and stick to what you believe in. But if you just hear opinions that you agree with all the time, that's bad. That's not a good thing. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's good to like listen to people that have different, even if it's something you don't agree with. I think it's good to have different opinions, and listening to people that that you're not really a fan of, or you don't really like, but you kind of respect them in like a small, weird kind of way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like a lot of like podcasters and stuff, you might not agree with what they say, or I guess to a degree, like I have that same issue with Joe Rogan. You know, like not a lot of stuff I agree with him, but you know, I suppose I like to hear his point. But on the other side, I have stopped watching Joe Rogan for that same reason. Like I'll still watch him if he's got good guests on, but I don't watch it for Joe Rogan. You know.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because obviously I don't like Piers Morgan with the whole Meghan Markle situation. I just think he was horrible in that situation. He was basically harassing her.
Yeah.
But I've go back recently I've been watching a couple of his videos, and as much as like you say this to yourself, like I can't believe I'm agreeing with Piers Morgan, because in all the sort of, sometimes he doesn't have the best views, but sometimes in the interviews you see him and he has like strokes of genius. Like he has moments where you're like, wow, that actually kind of makes sense. But like as a whole, like I want to make it really clear, like I'm not a super fan of Piers Morgan, but there's moments where I'm like, yeah, like he does make sense, and I kind of agree with him. So it's fine. And I think with cancel culture and the way things are kind of gone and going, the internet culture is weird. Like I speak about this on my Twitter quite a little bit. Like recently I've spoken about it, and like the way that people have conversations online, it's not like how you'd have a conversation like how we are, or how you would in the street. It's very like just defensive. I can always tell when like someone that's like been on Twitter, or someone that's been on like TikTok, there's like an astonishingly like defensive style of writing. Do you know what I mean? Like, so for example, I could write something that is like, it's said in good faith. You say something that's like, you mean well with what you say, and someone could find a loophole in what you've said. So if it's not like, if it doesn't look like a PhD essay, and someone could find a loophole in what you've said and be like, oh well, you've not mentioned this group of people, or you've not done. Do you know what I mean? People are just bored online, looking to like attack people so they can feel good that day. They can feel like they're on the high horse, even though like I said something that was completely fine. People take out of context. For example, there's a YouTuber that I watch called Blackie Speaks. He's incredible. Like, I love his stuff.
Yeah.
Like, go check him out if you haven't. I'm quite into like my YouTube space at the moment. Sometimes more than I am artists. Like I love listening to artists like all the time. I listen to music, but I like to like listen to different YouTubers and stuff. And he said something like, oh, you rob yourself of so much good music if you don't listen to hip hop. And as a hip hop fan, I agree with him. Like I listen to loads of different genres because I like to have like a wide spectrum of music. It gives you a better understanding of how music's made, how it works, and like how it sort of contextualizes across different societies and different like ways and stuff. So, and all he said is that it's good to listen to different genres. That's what he was pretty much saying. But of course, you've got someone in the comments retweeting and being like, oh, well, it only ever gets applied to hip hop, and, you know, basically implying that he's being offensive when he's not. Do you know what I mean? That's the kind of culture that we're in now, if that's the best way that I can explain that. So it's kind of weird. And that happens with my YouTube videos, like the ones I've put out recently. Like people literally have quoted me in the comments. I don't go through all the comments because there's so many comments, and I just don't have time to read them all. And I kind of skim over a few of them. Like I read it for about a day just for like the sake of my mental health, to be honest. But like there's people, I've seen it where like I've said something and someone's like quoted me in the comment section and totally taking it out of context, which I think as a society it's really damaging. I feel like we're starting off quite deep, but
very deep, very, 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 very deep, Matthew.
Very deep.
Yeah, man, you're looking well.
Yeah, you too, man. Like it's always good to see you, Suthie. And I just want to say, like, I love what you're doing with the podcast, man. I see you've got big Timmys on the Taylor, big Timothy Taylors. But yeah, I love what you're doing with the podcast, and you love what you're doing with your music recently, man. You're just doing your thing, so it's good to see that.
It's been a long time coming. We can open up a little bit of the history on this episode as well between me and you.
100%.
Our nights on the town. You know, our illustrious relationship. You know, those tender moments as well. I think in the studio, remember on Drystone, those tender moments.
Oh yeah, man. There was some classic classic interviews that we did and classic moments. And
I did call out Dry Stone Radio a few episodes back.
Why? What did you say?
In good faith.
In good faith, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, like
I might have said fuck Dry Stone Radio.
Oh, I know what you were playing.
Yeah, but we all know what that's about. It's not it's a quotation.
Yeah, it's kind of like an inside thing between me and you. And like we at the time we could have made it a thing, but we just kind of like put it under the rug, as they say. Yeah. Like Dry Stone for me, man. I proper miss, like, I'm always grateful for like Dry Stone, like Oliver, the whole Dry Stone team, and I just miss. It's mad how far we took it, man. Like it. Just one of my friends came up to me, Obi Joe. Like, he's a really good friend of mine. Like, he's a rapper. He's from Leeds. Like, he's such a dope guy. But like, we've been friends for a long time, and he came up to me. I can't remember when this was. It wasn't that long ago, but he came up to me and was like, "How have you managed to get all these people to come to Cowling? Like, you've literally got all these people. I've convinced them to come to like the middle of nowhere to come on the show, and it was just bizarre. It wasn't bizarre. It was beautiful, but bizarre." I remember one time we had that Chris Blaze guy come in. I remember you saying to me, like,
"This is the most surreal moment of my life."
Yeah, and we've got this guy coming in that's telling us about like his experiences in America, and he's an American American rapper that's come on the show, and he's done like a performance, and that to me like is enough. I think even when I got Blazer Blockle on, like that was like, I could have stopped doing radio and I would have been happy at that point. Right. Like I could have stopped what I was doing. Obviously, can't stop, won't stop, like Diddy says. I just keep on moving, we keep it going. But yeah, like I think just Dry Stone for me, I'm always grateful, and I think like I'm always, I think it's just I'm very lucky that I got that opportunity.
Yeah,
coming from Skipton, because like in Skipton, I know that not everyone gets to do that.
No.
I mean, a lot of it was my own motivation and people around me like yourself that were helping me, and people like DJ Music Hall that were pushing me. But I think on the whole, like it wasn't just luck, it was a lot of hard work. But I think, coming from the middle of nowhere, essentially in Skipton. Pretty much, it's like, it's kind of like a needle in a haystack in terms of like being a radio presenter. It's kind of weird. I mean, I wouldn't even say I'm a radio presenter really anymore. I'm just a YouTuber presenter, whatever you want to call me. I don't know, but
a man of sweat.
Man of sweat. Yeah. Man of gristle.
Yeah, we had some good times on Dry Stone. Like I think the journey started for me there. That sort of like that momentum started from there, from doing radio, to then doing notification to now. And going through my own shit as well, like my own self-development, my own growth, my own sort of mental health problems, and coming out the other side, and I finding that motivation and that work ethic, man. And I think if there's one thing I want to commend you on, it's showing me that sort of work ethic and passion, man, because it's sort of been delayed, but it's come, and it's in full effect now, And I think to anyone who's watching, man, is so I'm speaking directly to the audience. If anyone's watching, if anyone's watching,
I'm sure there will be.
Cricket noise. If anyone's watching, like, don't give up. Like if you're not enjoying something, try something else. That's what I did. I tried YouTube. I wasn't really feeling the producing, so I tried YouTube, and then from YouTube, I just started playing around with the mic I'd bought. And that's how it all started.
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate the kind words, man. And like, you've encouraged me a lot. I think there was times where like you fought my corner. I remember one time you were saying that like how much I'd done for local artists. And I mean, I don't see it as that, but like, you saying all these nice things about me. And I think one time you were saying that like I was slept on by my peers, all this kind of thing. So it's, in a way, that's helped me as well.
Yeah.
And like what you were saying just then, I think like, if something isn't working out, like different formulas work for different people. Like, I got to the point where like doing radio, even when I was doing my show in Manchester, like last year in Pi Radio, like I love Pi Radio, like they got the Pi Radio guys. But even I got to a point with that, and I said to myself, like, I don't know if I'm going to be on Radio 1. I don't know if this is going to be a full career. Why not let's try YouTube. I was already doing YouTube, but not as seriously as I'm probably doing it now. So I was kind of dabbling in it a little bit. I'd done a few content videos. Like, as you know, in 2020, I was doing a lot of interviews, and I think I just got to the point where I love doing interviews, but I got to the point where I was just like, oh, I've done a lot. And I feel like to do interviews now, I'd have to be a bit more selective, not because I wouldn't want to speak to people. It's just I want to be a bit more selective on the people that I bring on, just because when I want to interview someone, I want it to go off. And that's not to say my other interviews aren't good.
You want entertainment.
Exactly. And I think what happened as well, I kind of lost a lot of it. Like, this is why I've not done interviews in a while. I kind of lost a bit of motivation. That's nothing to do with me. It was more of a case of like, I'd have people coming in, cancelling quite a lot. That's quite a lot of thing that happened. And people, like, a big thing that always seems to happen with me, I don't know why, it's like a curse. It's like the curse of Little Dirk. People would like, I'd get an interview with like a band or something, and then like a couple of days later, they'd be on like another bigger platform, which I don't take personally, but I just think I've always understood that that's like a thing. And like, if bands get a better offer or an artist gets a better offer, then that's cool.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can be a bit jarring when that happens. And like, I always imagine sometimes people don't want to come on just because I'm a smaller independent guy, but I actually care about the people I'm interviewing. Do you know what I mean? If that's the best way to describe it. Like, I bring you on because I rate you. It's not because I don't bring people on because I want the clout or I want the views. I'd be lying to myself if I said I've not done that before. Like, but you just do it for views, for the clout.
I just do it for the clout. I just do it for the money, the fame, the pesos,
the moolah.
Fuck all my guests.
Wow.
Yeah, fuck them. No, I love you all. Yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? You know, like, you know, it's an hard one, because, you know, you wanna sort of help people out, but at the same time, you know, being a YouTuber or whatever, you wanna entertain the people. You don't want to just have anyone in, do you?
No, true. That's very true. And I think,
you know,
I mean, I would interview someone that I have opposing opinions for if it made a good video, if it made an entertaining video.
Oh yeah.
Then I'd get like my local MP on, like, who I don't really like. So, like, you know what I mean? I would get someone on that I don't really agree with their opinions, but it makes for great content. And I don't like that word content because it's kind of overused nowadays, but it does make for good viewing. Sometimes it does. Like,
yeah, man. Yeah. Are you into UFOs?
Oh, I know you've thrown this question at people before, and I've seen this.
Weren't you abducted?
Low key, back in 47 in Roswell. Like, that's when I was knocking about. That was like my underground SoundCloud days, you know. That's when I was like going by many alter egos, but, you know, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, that was one of the original cuts that I was in, and then it kind of progressed from there, and here we are. You know. Yeah,
man. You're a shapeshifter.
That's it.
Yeah.
What song is it? Like Lola's theme, Shapeshifters. I swear there's a song by a group called I'm a Different Person. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've been really into like instruments recently.
What kind?
Like, have you ever heard of the skin flute?
What's the skin flute?
It's like a Native American. It's not Native American. It's inspired by the phallus instruments.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's quite an interesting instrument. Like, it's all like a thinking man's harmonica.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. It's got like a nice blow to it.
Oh, cool.
You got to really get it going. What are you laughing at? Yeah, man. It's a pleasure to have you on. You're looking well. I've seen your interviews and stuff. I really liked the Westworld interview. Westworld. It was interviewing robots. It wasn't an interview, so it was a YouTube video, but I found that really good. It really entertaining, and, you know, he did a lot better job than the BBC documentary, but I thought that was all right as well. But I thought,
thank you.
Yeah, fuck BBC. Sorry.
It's fine, man. It's fine.
Yo.
Do you think? No, but thank you. But I appreciate that. That was. I was debating that video because it's a controversial topic from the get-go, and YouTube, I've kind of experimented, like the Parsaloo video, that I don't think that's my best video, but that has like the most views, and like that one is done really well. Like even Parsaloo's brother commented on it, like he was G-checking me in the comments being like, you made a slight error. So I just messaged him back being like, oh, big up your family. Yeah, my bad, there was a typo. So obviously like, the Westwood one though, man, like that is my quickest turnaround in my career.
Yeah.
I swear down. I did that. I researched it. It took me like a good evening of just being online, like proper going in deep. Like when it happened, when obviously because I watched the documentary the night before, so I understood the full context. And then I literally put the video together within like, I think it was like the next day it was out, but the video took me about 3 hours to put together. And I just kind of, it wasn't rushed. Like I made sure it was a good video. Yeah. But it was definitely the quickest turnaround. Like there's some of the editing and stuff wasn't perfect, but like what is perfect? Like nothing's perfect. Like I wanted the story to come out so people could like digest it. And what was really nice and like humbling as well, and it was really nice, like MC Duke, he's like one of the UK like OGs in the scene. He shouted me. I got a couple of shouts on Twitter and stuff, which was really nice. And like, yeah, I've not really had any messages, but some of the comments it divided opinion. Like I was saying before at the start of the podcast, a lot of people were watching my video and you could tell when they'd commented on it. Like, I believe everyone's entitled to an opinion, right? But I feel like if you're going to comment on a video, at least watch the video first. I felt like a lot of people were commenting on it when they'd not watched the full video, which to me is kind of a bit detrimental. But at the same time, there's a lot of nice comments. Like there's one guy from Leeds like bigging me up saying, you know, like we need to believe the victims of the story because it's seven separate women with like different allegations. And I uncovered more than the BBC, like not more than the BBC did. Obviously the BBC did a good job of shedding light on it. But there was a lot of things that I found that the BBC didn't really talk about. There was a GoFundMe page where people were coming forward. There were little things like that, the whole thing between like Wiley and stuff. Like I knew that already. And it was quite hard because a lot of the footage wasn't really available. And a lot of the things were missing. And it was really hard for me as well because I say this in the video, and this is another thing that people were saying in the comments, like, oh, why did you idolize Westwood? It's like, I didn't know how bad he was. Like, I always just thought, to me, Westwood was it like, I just thought he was like a bit of a...
Just eccentric.
I thought he was just like, I knew that he was a bit... Like, I thought he almost thought he was like a character almost, like it wasn't actually him. Yeah. I always knew that like he was a bit sort of... I just thought he was like an old man that flirted with young girls, basically. I didn't realise like how deep it went until I actually researched it. Like I'd heard stories and stuff, and I'd heard a lot of like hearsay. I like to obviously, when I hear rumours and stuff like that, especially if it's on like Facebook, I don't always take it at face value because you just don't know how credible that is.
Yeah, of course.
But when you start to unravel it and you see the comment section and people coming forward with stories and people talking about it, when there's a lot of people claiming that things have happened, in your mind, you just kind of logically think that like it's probably true. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to say that like because like one of the other criticisms that I got from the video was people were saying that like, oh, I said always believe the victims. I fully understand that like victims, there has been historical cases where victims of stuff of horrible crimes have lied. More times out of 10, I'd rather be on the side of the women. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what people were taking out of context. So I think it was just interesting to see. It was almost like a social experiment to see like how people reacted to it. It was really cool, and I didn't think it's still doing really well. Like the video is still getting a lot of attention, which is really nice. I didn't think it'd do as well as it did, and it's probably one of my favorite videos that I've done, and it's cool. Like it's been a learning curve for me, and I'm currently working on some new stuff at the moment. And like I think really YouTube on like this next year or so, like I think it's really going to take off. And I say that not in a cocky way. I say that just I know what I'm doing is good, and I know that like I'm passionate about YouTube. It's going to do well. So I'm just really you know, like me and Jono speak all the time. Like we've come very close. Like we always talk
about. Take a flight.
That's it. And we always talk to each other and give each other advice. And he's a really nice guy. Like Jono from Ride Music is like my guy at the moment. And
Ride Music.
Yeah, he's very good at what he does. Like him, Traplaw Ross. There's a girl called Madison Brown on YouTube as well. She's incredible. She's an American girl. Like they all really inspire me. There's loads of other people that inspire me. Like, but they're like the one, and Topical Juice as well. And Kingdom Media, I don't know what's happened to him. I think his account's been taken down, but he was doing bits. Right. Like he was doing bits. Kingdom Media is nice. We never really spoken. Like I've shouted him on Instagram and like bigged up his page and stuff, but I've never really spoken to him. But it's a shame. I don't know what's happened to his channel, but it's been taken down. But yeah, the YouTube space, man, I think it's the way forward. I think a part of me kind of kicks myself that I didn't get on it sooner, but in the back of my mind, I'm also like, I feel like I'm ready now to tackle it. Like if I'd done this when I was like 19, when I started, I don't think mentally I would have been ready. I think it's nice that I've done radio, I've done other things, and then I've kind of had experience doing it the old school way, and now I'm kind of doing it in the new style. So it's kind of cool. And I think it's cool that like with Drystone, I've been trained from a background of like actual radio presenters that do football shows, that are commentators, and kind of the old school way. I've been trained in the dojo by like the OGs, which is really not a lot of people can say that. Do you know what I mean?
Fight. Yeah,
that's it.
Who's your favourite Drystone like presenter?
Oh, presenter. I don't want to upset anyone.
Just in the moment, who's your favourite now? Like someone's like just like now in your head, like when you're thinking of the good old days, who do you think was the best one?
I liked PJ. Like PJ, I've been on PJ's show quite a few times.
PJ took a flight.
And there's just, I mean, I to be honest, like I respected everyone that was on Drystone. Like a lot of the guys were a lot older, obviously. A lot of them were like middle-aged men, you know, a lot older than that, you know, retired men. And it's just, I respected all of them, what they did. Like I respected their shows, the music they played. And I remember one of the guys that I was speaking to, he did the Motown show, I believe, and he was saying that he plays a lot of soul music and Northern soul, and he said that like the good thing about my show is I was playing a lot of hip hop and stuff, and that was like the grandsons of the people that did Motown, and he was bigging it up. So like Drystone's cool. I've got a lot of respect for Drystone. Yeah,
man. Like I remember when I first came on Drystone, and I was, you know, shaking like a shitting dog, and it feels quite crazy. It feels crazy now because, like, obviously on Drystone, we couldn't say, like, we were restricted by Ofcom, so our lexicon was limited. There were certain things we couldn't say, but now we can happily say whatever we want to a degree.
Oh yeah, within reason,
within moral reason, you know. So I could say like "fuck you" and shit.
I was always worried that like with Ofcom that like one day, I never swore myself, but I was always worried that like
it's going to get like a knock on door,
like the SWAT team were going to come through the window and like arrest me and take me away. And yeah, I think Ofcom, like on paper, Ofcom is perfect. Like it's perfect because it protects people, it creates fairness.
There were times when we were like, we'd bring songs onto the show, and you'd like slipped up and like they'd say like fuck or something. We're looking at each other like shit.
that happened a lot. That happened a lot actually. Like, and there was times when I'd had like a band in or an artist and they started swearing, and sometimes I just had to let it roll, man. Like I had to let it roll because
check the CCTV.
No, sometimes like because people were performing a song and they were swearing in like a freestyle, and I didn't want to be the guy that cuts off their moment.
Yeah, so like stop them and go, no, whoa.
No, can't run this lad, can't run this lad. No. But yeah, like a lot of the times it was their first ever time on radio, so
yeah,
I was quite understanding, and like a lot of these guys, it's their dream to be on radio. So I didn't want to take away their moment of doing their first ever freestyle or first ever, performance. But nice freestyle, but next time don't say piss flaps. Don't mention that, swear words and stuff.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, man. What's your daily routine then? Like, what do you use? Like any moisturizers or?
Yes, I do actually. I use this. This is very Aveeno. It's shea butter. It's very very great. Like, and I use a lot of Dove. I think Dove's a very good brand. I'd recommend Dove.
Dove for all your products. This is the Dove advert. Take a fly, 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 take a fly.
You should get that sponsorship from Dove. Like, you should apply for some brand deal.
Yeah, man. Get like a Dove socks. Yeah, man. Dove ballet. With like an inside, it's like lubed up with Dove moisturizer.
Oh my god. Oh, you've got an imagination, Suthie. Like, you've got a good imagination. I'll give you that, lad. Like,
pardon me. So yeah,
we're all Timothy Taylors.
Yeah. So yeah, year 2022. Times are interesting. Interesting times,
Very interesting.
We're over COVID now, to a degree. Everyone's sort of getting back to normal. Does it feel to you that things have changed, or do you think the world's become closer? Do you think, I don't know, like, what's your opinion on the current zeitgeist?
That is a good question. I think things, like, in a lot of senses, like, it's made people appreciate what they have. In a lot of senses, like, it's made me very grateful for the position that I'm in.
What we're going to do is a bit different with this question. So what we're going to do, rather than you give us a fantastic explanation, just 3 words to describe.
3 words?
Yeah.
What, like how the world's changed?
Yeah, 3 words.
As we come to the end of this phase of our life, we find ourselves trying to remember the good times.
I can't feel my face.
Trying to forget the bad times.
Bricky called this one fuck off. I called it face off. For 2 reasons, which will become apparent across the song.
Trying to forget.
This ain't for those fucking cheesy bastards on Instagram doing the fucking rap songs in the car and that, and try to be fucking lyrical, miracle, spiritual in his swimming pool. You fucking boring bastards, you. This is Big Suthie. Take a fly. Dust from the concrete, suck into the dialogue, and the path's dictated by the way that I'm swung. Keep cocky with a book. Have a fighter's tongue and old dirty shoes for these spokes when they decide to come. Always pissed off in the fear, looking for a dirty nap. Sick of twats in the type of hype wave, a fucking surfer catch. I like it the way it sounded at a certain snap. Take a fly. It's fine and whacking season. Come on, man. I might take a lot. Blue badge on the dash, and I blew Peter Steve's. Couple drags and lost her knees. Took a bag of cheese. Curtain drawn and the blossom fall is Japanese. Looking out the V-looks, they want to eat my balls for the tea. Come on. Jackknife was hacked right on a stupid eve. Slack Joe, you're cool, like a hound on the hunt for weed. Come on. They want to stick a fork in the yard of my dungarees. Get fucked. Let me show you the flip side of the life I lead.
Susan, I've got to say, Tim has been in a coma for 8 months now. There's really little sign of brain activity.
Please, can we try? This is his favourite East End thug. It might just do something.
There were so many times I thought I wanted to quit, I wanted to give up. I'm glad I didn't.
I'm ever so sorry to say this, but if you don't wake up...
Just quit the dream altogether.
Do you understand, you sick cabbage? What's the matter? Those tubes suck out your tongue, eh? Are you listening, eh?
I know you'll feel the same sometimes. It's fucking crazy, I know it is, man. You just got to keep going. Inspire those around you, inspire yourself. Let me tell you that story, man. Let me take off the mask for a minute. Let's get a little personal on this one. Let me stick Suthie back in the sock drawer and listen close. I was sick and tired of daily life and I searched for a fucking clause. Snapping at my loved ones and being a bit of a twat. When I lay lost in the fear, had to take a few steps back. Went to the docks and got a box of happy pills that inspired the music to arise. And I'm glad it did. Unapologetic with a message, everything's kinda loose. And the words sort of like my train of thought through the roof. When the mask's on, it's fun and games and everybody love it. But when I'm back to being John, I'm getting tired of nothing. It's like a break in my psyche, me and Suthie, I cannot stomach. When I fly away with the buzzards, just put me on a summer. When I took it away, it's like I'm lost in the sauce. The days grow thin, impossible tone. If I had one wish, I'd merge it into a single entity. Face off, I'm my own worst enemy. Tell them fuck off. It's a face off. I tell them fuck off. It's a face off. Bricky. Shout brick top on the trifecta.
Now fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off.
I think grateful, gratitude is the first word.
Yeah.
I would say polarizing, and what's the other word?
What's the last one?
I think this is kind of two words, but I feel like reliance on technology.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Technological reliance. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think we're becoming more together or less together?
See, this is interesting. This kind of goes back to what I was saying before, that everyone with online now, everyone has a different perspective of like what reality is. Everyone has a different Facebook feed, different recommendations. Like what you've got to remember with like social media companies, they're not buying your data, they're recommending you more stuff so you stay on there longer, basically, to sum it up.
Yeah.
So everyone has a different perspective of reality, which is bad because people kind of come away from traditions, and traditions obviously aren't always perfect, but if no one has like a sense of what reality is and everyone has their own like morals and values, I think it's robotism. It's the correct ideology.
Robotism.
I tried to look it up. That's it, robotism.
That's interesting.
And everyone kind of goes off and doing their own thing. I think it can be great. Like it can be, everyone can be expressive and everyone has a voice. There's nothing wrong with that. But there's also a darker side to that as well.
I mean, there's also a time for people need to listen as opposed to talk.
100%. And it's mad. You see all these like, you know, people that believing that the world's flat and, you know, believing that the election was rigged in America and believing in Trump and believing all these like warped views, and you think like, how can they be so stupid? But like you look at like what they're on, like they're on Facebook groups that are dedicated to like these kind of things that are being pushed towards them, and they're seeing things on Facebook and they're taking that as like face value. So I don't excuse like, you know, bad attitudes towards stuff or like warped opinions, but at the same time you've got to kind of be understanding at the fact that like that's their reality, that's what they're seeing. Do you know what I mean? So I used to be very like, I don't like to put myself in a political space. Like I like to be quite open-minded about everything, and I always imagine put yourself in someone else's shoes, like how would you feel and how would you'd be the exact same they were. I used to think, I got to the stage where I feel like I was quite left-wing, which is obviously I'd rather be left-wing than right-wing.
Yeah,
totally, any day.
You'd rather be on that spectrum more, you know, just due to obviously the abhorrent nature of it. I mean, this is not a political show in the slightest, and like you said, we can obviously touch on it. You know, it's great to have those debates, but like for me personally, like I'm not in a political space either. I'm very much, I'd say, sort of left field, but in the middle. But I'm very receptive, and what I like to be is I like to be sort of, I like the idea of post-political society, where it's more sort of everyone's united by similar goals, and I think there's certain goals and certain missions, should I say, that should take centre. I think like environmental issues are quite important. I think
100%.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more. There is some big issues, but on the other hand, we also need to solve the smaller issues as well, like racism,
100%.
like transgender rights. That's another important thing. I think everyone has the right to be themselves. And it's interesting, like you said there before about traditions, and I think traditions are going. Everyone's becoming a lot more individual in their beliefs. They're not sort of like you'd have like historically, maybe you might have a son or a daughter who's from a right-wing family, and then they've become more educated, and they've developed their own moral compass, their own political ideas, and I think the way the world's moving is there's such masses of data that I think, yeah, it's an interesting, it's a new experience, it's a new human experience, I think, for better or worse as well. Presents its own issues and its own challenges, but I do think there's discipline as well is one thing that we lack.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, the thing is as well, in this documentary that I keep bigging it up because it kind of changed a lot of my perspective of things. But the thing is as well, as human beings, like you said, data, right? We're not as human beings. We've not, like, technology's evolved so much, but we've not evolved as human beings. Like, our minds haven't evolved that much. So when we're seeing all this data and all these things on Instagram and all these things on Facebook, Reddit, whatever people use, your mind doesn't have enough capability to process all that. Not to like read it, but like to actually digest it. So this is why like things are getting taken out of context and like people are like misinterpreting what people are saying. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't happen at the pub. Like when you're at the pub, me and you having a conversation, and someone says something that might sound a little bit offensive, but they didn't mean it to be offensive. People in the pub aren't going to be like, "Oh, get out the pub, like you're a disgrace." But that would happen on Twitter. Do you know what I mean? So I think the way that people talk in the pub is so differently to pub's a bad example, but how people talk in real life isn't how we talk on the internet. Basically, what I'm trying to say.
Basically, well, with words, you only see the face value.
That's it.
So sort of like the connotations around it, they're not there, are they?
No.
You might call someone, "Oh, you twat" on Twitter or something. You might call them a twat, but they might be saying it in a funny way, like a banterous way. Yeah, like you said, it is. It's lost in translation, I think, a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
I think I don't know, like maybe technology will improve and maybe they will sort of incorporate more of a human aspect to it. But then we're faced with other issues. Then.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do we become less human?
I don't know. I don't know, man. It's a hard question. It's a hard question.
Do you think the human race is like sort of, I wouldn't say evolving, but sort of it's changing, it's becoming something else?
Interesting you say that. I don't think we're changing as people, like as actual human beings. I don't think we're changing. Like, obviously, there's still greed, there's still lust, there's still jealousy, there's still all those things. I think one of the things I've noticed what's changing is celebrities, for example. Like celebrities back in the day, we didn't really know much about celebrities.
Yeah,
we didn't really know what their political views were, or what their daily life was, or what they were up to. Like, I think celebrities had a lot more power over people than they do now. And I think what a celebrity is has changed massively.
Yeah.
Like celebrities now, we know what like they have for breakfast. We see them on Instagram.
Yeah,
we know, like, and if they don't speak out politically or don't take the right side in politics or don't say anything, people call them out for not saying stuff. So it's like, it's weird. Like we're in such a weird space. And I think it's completely changed, even in like the past 5 years. Past 6 years. Like I remember when I first went on Instagram, And Instagram used to be just somewhere that I used to post like gym pics, or people used to post like pictures of their food. It wasn't how it is now. It's like, even with YouTube, like YouTube just used to be a thing where, like, here's a really good example. I was chatting to a mate last night when we were out. We went to go see Dizzy Rascal I think he was like at Tea in the Park.
All right.
A Party in the Park, sorry. This was like 2011, and there was a fight, and Dizzy Rascal broke up the fight. And I must have been like 13 at the time, really young, probably even younger. Yeah. And my mate's brother took us there because we weren't old enough to go on our own. And on stage, Dizzy Rascal was there like, stop fighting, stop fighting. A few seconds, like a couple of hours later, we all went on our phones to see the fight on our phone. But that's what it was for. It was for seeing real life events straight after they happened, or seeing like a gig we didn't go to, watching it on YouTube. That's what it was for. It wasn't the space that it is now. And it was very like, the production value was just literally camera videos and not very well produced videos, but at least they were a bit more authentic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think now it's a promotional tool, Instagram.
Yes.
It's propagating a lot of things. It's propagating sort of like influencers, certain specific lifestyles, directing you towards products, directing you towards a specific way of life. You know, it's used by political organizations. It's used by music industry. You know, it's I think it's a promotional device. And as you said, like in the olden days, you know, through the rose tinted glasses, it was just a place where you could go on and, you know, post pictures. It was Instagram, innit? Insta pictures. It's like Polaroid, yeah. Like, you know, like history, without going too much into the history of Instagram, like the change came for me in around 2016, because that's when Vine ended. And then it became more of a video platform as well, you know, and that sort of propagated that whole TikTok thing, you know, that sort of propagated that idea of, like, when I was talking about discipline, it's just constant flow of information, entertainment, videos. There's no structure to it, you know. It's just like we can't comprehend it because our brains can't comprehend it because we're not there yet. Which leads me to believe, and this is a pretty mind-blowing concept, but do you think technology was provided by a superior race?
Well, like aliens?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm probably going to say no.
Okay.
I believe that there's like I reckon this is my theory with like aliens, right? And I don't want to go off like a massive tangent. I feel like if there was anything that's in the solar system that's in space, I believe that there's a world that's like Earth.
Yeah.
It has like humans on, but the humans are at a different stage that we're at.
Okay.
So like, for example, we're in 2022. You go to that other planet, they might still be in the 1930s, or like they might have not progressed as much, or they might even be more advanced than we are. That's kind of my take on like outer world stuff.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm sounding like a complete conspiracy theorist. But
No.
I don't want to. If there is anything, that's what I believe it would be, if that makes sense. Or you go to another planet and they're in the medieval times, or you go to the planet but the humans, but they're slightly different. They might be like, I don't know, blue, or they might just have slightly different features than we do, or they might just be a bit smaller or a bit taller. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they might have like three knobs.
Yeah, could be like a weird Simpsons fish hybrid or something.
Yeah. Man, it's an interesting topic, man. You know, it is really interesting because, like I said, like you were on about before, like the sort of the mass information and our inability to comprehend it, and in a way that affects people's mental health.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Oh, it does. Like I know myself that I spend way too much time on my phone, and like I put silent on quite a lot, just when I'm like with my missus in the evening. Like I just sometimes put it on silent, watch The Simpsons, or just watch like not watch YouTube videos, or just watch normal TV.
Yeah.
So I have periods where like I take a break from social media, because I'm quite active on Instagram and not so much on Twitter.
Yeah.
I kind of post on there occasionally, but
what's your favorite Simpsons episode?
Oh, I have so many. I watched one recently where there's an episode. It's very like The Simpsons is very advanced for when it was made. The way that they write the episodes, they still hold up today. There's one episode I love. Who Shot Mr. Burns? That's a classic.
Oh yeah, of course.
I like the Bobo one as well. There's so many that I watched. I love them all. Like, there's not an episode I don't like of the old, like past season 8, but like anything before season 8. Like, there's one episode I watched recently where there was the episode where Homer drops that girl off, and then she's got like a gummy bear.
Oh yeah.
And then basically like he pulls it off because he wants it, but then she turns around and be like, oh well, he's sexually assaulted me. And then the whole episode's basically like Homer trying to disprove himself and like basically don't jump to conclusions, which is mad.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like how we are in a world now where like you see something online and you automatically believe it.
Yeah.
Even like I'd say this about my Westwood video. Like I wholeheartedly believe that these allegations are true, but that might not be the case. So don't just believe what I say.
Yeah.
Think critically yourself. This is what I was trying to say at the end of my video and stuff. Like,
I think the allegations are true. I think there is truth to it, but you know, will the court of law see it? Will he be guilty? You know, that's the big question. Will they be held accountable for his crimes, or will we have to wait many years, and will it end up like Jimmy Savile? You know, when he's died, then everyone's like, "Oh, he's dead now. We can talk about it." You know, his power's gone, his influence is gone.
Yeah, it's weird, and I think how the hell did a son of an Archbishop of Canterbury become like one of the biggest DJs in the world? Do you know? It's insane to think that that's even a real thing. Not to say I don't think like white people don't. I think white people do belong in hip hop, but they're a guest essentially. Like I know when I'm in hip hop spaces, I'm a guest essentially, and I think I've always known my place, if that makes sense.
Of course, man. Like I believe that as well. Like I like the culture. You have to honor. Firstly, you have to honor the culture. You have to honor what you're doing, and I don't necessarily think that we're guests. Like, but I do. So I do get it though. Like I get it. Like in a way we are. But I think it's become so accepted to be a white rapper. It's not even a thing now, is it?
No, because I think there's a difference between like there's white guys that rap, but then there's white rappers. There's like a difference. A white guy that raps is someone like Jack Harlow. Like he clearly respects the space that he's in. A white rapper is someone I don't know if I can give you a good example. A white rapper is someone that's in it, but they're not respecting the culture that they're in. If that makes sense. There's a video on YouTube, like I'll send you it. It breaks it down really well.
That's interesting. Yeah. I think it's people that don't respect the culture and want to sort of, maybe, sort of use it as a way, to sort of propagate themselves.
Like profiting, yeah. No, I feel that 100%.
And then they obviously have like the sort of like that stereotypical white rapper, with the baggy pants on and stuff, and rocking out in school. The Eminem, like the old school Eminem look.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, man. But I think it's great how music's so open now, and people can do whatever they want, basically.
Oh yeah, I think I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, and I think it's great that like everyone has access to do music now, because for a very long time it was a very, only certain people can make music. And I think it's very good that people can make music from the bedroom. I think that's a beautiful thing. But I also think like now that everyone has access to music, in a lot of senses, it's also quite detrimental, because in a sense, how do I explain this? If everyone's making music,
who's listening?
How is anyone original? Because you'll like there's such thing as oversaturation, right?
Oh, 100%, man.
100%. Like, look what's happening with the UK scene. Like, me personally, bro, like I'm actually really bored. Like, don't get it twisted. I love the UK scene. I love the UK hip hop scene. I'm a mad fan. I'm quite bored of what's coming out at the moment. I'm really bored of majority of the stuff. Obviously, there's some gems that have been dropping, like Nux. Dave's dropped some gems recently, but as a whole, like the UK scene at the moment bores the hell out of me. So I've been kind of going back to like my roots. I've been listening to a lot of indie recently, a lot of alternative stuff and stuff that, you know, I've been listening just a wide section of music that I've been listening to recently, just to kind of keep my ears open and keep myself always just, you know, on my toes, as they say.
I think there is a case for music. Like, there's a lot of people doing it for the wrong reasons. I think, which is really interesting. Like, I know if this is a cool little quotation that I want to put on this episode, that a good friend of mine, Bricktop, if you are listening, Bricktop, get your shit out, man. He said basically, like, a lot of rappers, like a lot of UK rappers, and this isn't a diss, but you know, it's my personal opinion. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them are sort of, rather than coming from the heart, they're coming from the thesaurus. Do you understand? That's not like, that's UK hip hop for me. That's like like UK. Not like, we're not talking about like, you know, the like Dave and stuff like that. We're talking about that's UK rap, or whatever you want to call it. We're talking about like the, you know, the rappers, the rippity whippity skippity swim, lyrical miracle in your swimming pool. Because we do get a lot of a lot of my viewers are from the UK hip hop scene, or fans of the UK hip hop scene.
Nice.
That's just my opinion, man. That's what bores me. Like, I think, yeah, there is a heavy saturation, and I think, you know, sometimes if you can do it, it doesn't mean you have to do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, this is really interesting. I watched a video. There's a YouTube channel called Black Music Archive. I knew that they were on Twitter, and a fantastic YouTube channel. Like, check it out. Like, it's really cool. And they were comparing like singers, basically like soul singers, R&B singers. Essentially, like they were talking about like the iconic Black women within music, and they were saying that, like, you know, people like Aretha Franklin back in the day, they'd have hours of training before they even went on stage. Like, they used to either go to church, or they'd used to go to school and have, like, obviously politics comes into it, but I'm not really going to go into that. But yeah, let's just say they had like I think, what do they say? You need like 1,000 hours of practice before you do something, before you can call yourself an expert. So these girls would have thousands of hours of practice, and they'd be, even before they touch the stage, like Motown Records and places like that would have artist development programs to make sure that they sound shit hot, basically, before they did anything, before they even got on wax, before they did a record. And what I think the problem is now, I'm not saying that girls nowadays or artists can't rap or girls can't sing. They're not giving people enough time, like, to sort of hit their potential, or they're not giving them enough time to be ready. And what's happening is, like, you're pulling people off Instagram, you're pulling like singers off Instagram, and when they go on stage, they crumble because they're not ready. It's not because they can't sing and they're not good. It's just because they're not ready for that moment. I think that's that, in my opinion, I think that's what happened with H. I love H. Like, I think H got pushed too fast, in my opinion, in the rap scene. I think H wasn't ready for that amount of fame.
No.
And he's just a lad that was doing it for fun, and I think it probably happened a lot faster than he expected, and it probably went a lot further than he ever expected.
It's probably not fun now.
No, it's probably not. He probably sees it as work. Like, it's not a hobby anymore.
He's got to deliver this song. He's got to write this song. He's got people checking his bars, his instrumentals, etc. It's stressful. It's like a conversation I was having today with someone about, we don't need labels anymore. You know, to a degree. You know, we don't really need labels.
No,
depends how far you want to go. Like, if you want to be Drake, you know. But, like, who wants to be Drake? Like, realistically, like, you know, he's got all that fame and all that money, but, you know, he can't drop back into a normal life, can he?
No. It's interesting that I was saying to someone last night, it's crazy, like, how much influence Drake actually has in the music industry.
Yeah.
Like, if Drake just quitted music now, which isn't going to happen, it would affect so many other people.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things that I learned about on uni on my course, doing music business, if people want to shout me, I've done music business, but so one of the things that we were taught as well. So when you think of Spotify and the streams and who's on the label, like Universal, all the big three like Warner, Sony, Universal, they make loads off Spotify. Like they don't pay artists enough. And the way that it works, so like SoundCloud is user centric. So like, let's say if I listen to, I don't know, Ed Sheeran for a month, more of that money will go towards Ed Sheeran. But let's say if I listen to Playboi Carti on Spotify, just him, no one else, the biggest artist on his label would get more of that money. It's like a pyramid. Like Spotify is essentially, it's like a pyramid scheme.
Oh, right.
So like the way that it works is like, it's a market share. It's not like you're not paying for the artist that you're listening to. You're paying money, and then the money that you stream off that artist, it just goes to the most of that money goes to the label. So that's why like there's so much pressure on big artists to do well, because they're essentially helping fund other artists' careers that are on that label.
Oh, right, okay.
If that makes sense.
That makes that makes total sense.
See, like this is the thing, bro. Like, I'm quite clued up on this stuff. And I don't like people don't really know how kind of clued up I am, and I'm like in the most humblest way, like I'm quite industry at the moment. Like I'm quite an industry guy. I just don't really shout about it that much. Like I'm probably a lot more industry than
me.
A lot of people than you would think. You know what I mean? Not to sound, but
I control the scene, by the way.
You control the north.
I control the airwaves. I control the internet.
That's
They can fly. Yeah, man. So yeah, just on a final note, I've got a bit of a challenge for you.
Okay, cool.
I want to test your metal.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is the Suthie No Snigger Challenge. Okay.
Okay, cool.
So are you quite good at like keeping your laughter in?
I can try.
Okay.
Sometimes things can set me off, but
there's a big prize, you know.
What's the prize?
That's a surprise.
Okay.
Okay. So these are headlines from a reputable newspaper called the Sunday Sport, if you've heard of that.
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So we're going to be reading out some headlines, and you've got to try and not laugh. Let's see if you can run the goal net. You ready? Okay, so this is the first one. It's quite an easy one. Are you ready? Yeah?
I'm ready, man, yeah.
Okay. So this is the first one. Couldn't afford loo roll, so I wiped my bum on the wife's winning lotto ticket.
So that's tragic. That's funny, but it's like
okay.
Oh, that's great.
So we'll keep going. We'll run the goal now. Okay. So that's a warm up. Okay. Putin found cheating at Hull bingo hall.
That doesn't sound real. Like as in Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't sound real. That's like fake news.
Well, they're all fake news, man. It's sort of the idea of it. It's like, okay. It's like funny. Okay. Next one. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready, man.
Top Tory honey monster perv sex act in car wash.
Wow, that just sounds very bizarre. I don't know what to think of that.
Putin shat himself after 2 pints of shandy. I did well then.
What a drink? What a classic drink.
This might be the hardest one. Yeah, are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're so skint we had to deep fry our favourite dildo.
Each to their own, really. That's all I can say with that.
Did well there. Naked Putin made me toss off elephants to fill his spunk bath.
Oh my God. Oof.
Doing well.
Very graphic. That was very graphic.
Yeah. Crop of babes since looking like Roy, with a picture of Roy Cropper.
Babes?
Yeah, and it's a picture of Roy Cropper. So someone's had a facial change.
That's great.
Okay, this is the last one. I set off a rocket from my chap's eye, and my cock and balls exploded into bits.
Ouch. Ouch.
Yeah, man. Stockpiling Greg's sausage rolls up my ass gave me bum dandruff.
You can't go wrong with Greg's rolls, but I just question the method there. There's nothing wrong with Greg's, but it's just the method maybe on that one.
Not that kind of anti-vax. Hubby smashes up vacuum cleaner in misguided protest.
I actually find that quite believable, to be honest.
Win tonight, boys, and you can bed my wife. Meet England's #1 fan. I think you done pretty well.
Thank you. I tried.
2 out of what? I think it was pretty good. That you're on the toolboard. You're on the scoreboard. Yeah,
I like how I'm on a scoreboard.
Yeah.
Sounds like I'm hunting down some ops.
Down some ops. Take a flight. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been great having you on, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Is there anything else that you want to ask me before we shoot off?
Oh yeah.
I think we covered quite a lot, didn't we, to be fair?
Yeah. Will Smith.
So my thoughts on Will Smith?
Yeah.
What is the slap, you mean?
Yeah.
That's a hard one. It's a real hard one for me.
It's a hard one.
It's like if someone insulted your missus, like how would you react? Because I don't know how I'd react. Like, as much as like violence is wrong and I'm against violence, like it's at the end of the day he was defending his woman's honor.
What?
Do you know what I mean?
What, in front of millions of people?
True.
Yeah,
I feel that.
Yeah, I think he could have done it in a different way, but I don't know, man. Hell of a slap, though.
Oh yeah, the memes were incredible. That I literally I went on my phone and seconds after it happened, minutes. We're talking minutes and seconds after it happened. People were making memes, and fair play to them, man. I don't have that time to do. I love a good meme, but I don't have time to do that many memes. It's incredible.
What's your preferred stool?
Preferred stool?
Yeah, do you prefer it firm or sloppy?
Oh, firm. I'd say firm. I'd say firm.
Interesting. So there's a lot about your character, Yeah, man. So where can they find you?
Yes, if you want to find me, you can find me DJ Marky Marks. That's all lowercase. That's on everywhere. Like I said, I've got a new video I'm working on, the YouTube video at the moment. That's about
Take a flight.
Yeah, Birdman himself. But no, the new video, I'll drop you an exclusive. It's going to be about the Arctic Monkeys and basically the many feuds of the Arctic Monkeys. I'm covering. It's going to be my first kind of rock story that I've done on the channel, so I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be sick, It's a real sort of nice break from doing hip hop. As much as I love talking crud about rappers, you got to kind of break it up sometimes. And for me, just to kind of finish on a note that the reason why it means a lot to me is as you can see, I've got the man himself behind me, Alex Turner. I think Alex Turner for me, growing up, I always think it's important to see people.
I thought that were Adamant.
Oh, of course it is, big Adamant. But I think it's important to see people that are like you, people that sound like you. And I think when I was growing up, Alex Turner was God on earth. He was the coolest bloke, and I always looked up to Alex Turner from a musical perspective. and just from like he's cool as fuck. Like he's just the coolest guy, and it's like he's like me. He's from Yorkshire, and I think if you're from Yorkshire and you've not been inspired by Alex Turner, then that is bullshit. Like most people I know have been inspired by him in some small way from what he's done, and I don't think there's a better musician that's come out of Yorkshire, in my opinion, than Alex Turner, who's been more impactful, I'd say.
Come again?
Say again?
Come again?
Come again? Yeah, I think I'm just saying that I think he's been the most impactful, like coming out of Yorkshire, in my opinion.
Come again?
Come again? What do you mean? Come again?
Choose your words wisely, Marky Smith.
True. I mean, there's other people that I love. Don't get me wrong. I know there's other people from Yorkshire that have contributed, but that's just my opinion from like a musical perspective.
Yeah, man.
Get me?
I'll tell you what we should touch on just before we finish. Just a quick recap, really, of like the beginnings of Keithley Sutherland. Let's go. Like, how did it all start?
Well, how did it start?
Yeah,
I don't want to give the people too much because I feel like you've created a mystery behind yourself, so you should stick behind the mystery.
I think it's important though to people might want to know like a little bit of the history and stuff, like of like that initial email that you sent me on SoundCloud that I've just responded to.
Oh yeah, I think I just found you.
Like, I've just literally responded to it.
I love SoundCloud. Like SoundCloud, in my early days, that's how I got most people on. Was literally going on SoundCloud, typing in like local rappers, local bands, and then that's how I got people on. I didn't even just do locally, like people that were just making music I found on SoundCloud. So I owe a lot to SoundCloud, to be honest. And I think I just dropped you a message. I think I just typed in like Keithley hip hop or Keithley beats, and then something like that, and then you just came up, and then it was just like, I was like, I'll get you on because you're making some cool experimental stuff. So I was like, yeah, why not? Like, I've not really had many guys on from Keithley at that stage, and I was just like, yeah, let's rep for K-Town, as they say.
Respect to the fullest.
Respect for having me as well, man. It's been great. Like,
it's been absolutely terrible. Thank you. No, it's been great. It's been a reunion. It's been a reunion of sorts.
Yeah, it has. It has.
Yeah.
It's an interesting conversation. Like, yeah, I think it's nice for me, man, because I think just this past couple of years, I've just kind of been in my own lane, doing my own thing, and I think I'm in a better place than I was a couple of years ago. Like mentally, I just feel like this past year or so, I've just been focusing on myself and focusing on what I want. And I think for a while I was focusing on other people and trying to help other people, which is nothing wrong with that. And yeah, I think I'm just so happy. And I think I got to the stage with like a lot of the local scene where I feel like I was getting in too deep, if you know what I mean. I was going in like Louis Theroux, going in a bit too hard. Like, I know Louis Theroux is amazing what he does, but I think it got to the point where like what I was doing was becoming unhealthy in terms of like the amount of stuff I was doing. And I think it's okay to rest. I didn't want I feel like I didn't want to burn out. At one point I felt like I was going to burn out with everything that was going on, if that makes sense.
Of course, man. I think the closing message of this show is, don't burn yourself out. Take a rest,
Exactly.
But if there's something that you want to do, if something's not working out and something else you want to pursue, I think any creative person is, there's going to be different venues, there's going to be different avenues and different approaches to something. Like with me, like with me, for example, it's 100%. I've put out more music in the last 5 months. Well, I put out more music in the last week. I've done more tracks in the last week than I did in literally from 2021 to when I was born.
Amazing. I'm proud of you, man. Like, I'm proud. Like, it's good to see that you're doing your thing. And yeah, it's interesting. Like, I think I realized as well as like what I was doing, I was trying to appease like the local scene, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But I got to the stage where I said to myself, my mate was like, mate, you can be bigger than Yorkshire. Yeah. You can be bigger than what the city that you're in. And I think that's something that's stuck by with me. Like, there's people that subscribe to me on YouTube that I'll never probably meet or in different cities. And that's not to say I don't rep Yorkshire in everything that I do. Like, I rep Yorkshire hard. I rep where I'm from hard. Like, I rep Skippy, big Skipton hard. And, and I think one of the criticisms that I've got recently is that, like, I don't put on for local artists anymore, or I don't put on for independent music. And of course I do. Like, you just go on my Instagram. And I was having this conversation with a rapper I'm friends with, and I just said that, like, the way that I do things now is I'll post relevant things that are going on. So, like, I might post Tyler, the Creator. I might post DJ Khaled or whoever, Drake. But a few posts into that, I might post, like, Jack Jackson, for example, or I might post a new song from a local artist. So basically the way that I do it is I keep my page relevant, keep what I'm doing relevant, and then occasionally I might, like, slip something in that people can be like, oh, what's this? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the way that I've learned to do things. And I think where I was going wrong, not going wrong, but what I was doing was just working with, like, local artists, which there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it was a really good foundation.
Oh, of course.
I think for now, I think I've just learned a lot of things this past year. Like the pandemic, I've learned a lot of things. And I feel like out of 2020, I came back so much stronger. When I had the whole rebrand, I was doing that, man. Like, I've come back harder. Like, I had one of the best comebacks since, Justin Bieber and that album he did a couple of years ago. No, it wasn't that great, but you know what I mean? Like, I think it was a good comeback.
Yeah.
The time that I had off, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. No, it's good. It's been good to see, and I hope you all the best for the future.
Yeah, likewise, man. Thank you so much for having me on. Like, I know I was waffling at the end there, but
no, it's great. It's great to have you on, man. It's been we've had some very deep conversations. We've also taken a few steps lower. We've it's been a couple of we've whittled scraped the barrel a few times. But yeah, it's been great. Yeah, but yeah, take a flight. Michael Smith.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. Have a good evening. And we'll speak soon.
Yeah, you too, man.
You too, man.
I'll just cancel it. I'll just stop this recording.